Hello, Tassie. It is Sunday, the 21st of June. This is your weather forecast for the week ahead. You've probably got the most interesting weather of the country this week, so let's take a deep dive, shall we? A front arrives early Tuesday, and on Wednesday behind it brings some rainfall and chilly temperatures, which means there is a frost risk for the state. Those are the top headlines. You can see here in our rainfall potential from Sunday the 21st to Sunday the 28th that the West Coast gets hit pretty hard, but it peters out really quickly. So let's take a dive into the rainfall. Here we are looking at the Wednesday total daily rainfall around Queenstown areas where we'll get 15 to 25 mils. I think Queenstown's getting about 19 mils. But by the time it comes into any of these sorts of agricultural districts, we're talking in the low 2, 3, 4 mils. And that's really because this is not a very powerful front and we are dominated by high pressure throughout the week. So by not a very powerful front, I want to show us this is the wind gusts. We're not getting wind gusts, really above the sort of 60 kilometers an hour for most of the state. Again, the West Coast gets hit a bit, but really nothing too powerful. But what it does, it delivers a cold pool of air, and we have a high pressure system on top of that. And that double team together really will create some issues with our overnight minimum temperatures. And that's because the high pressure system will keep it still, so there's not a lot of wind. It will keep it relatively cloud free, which means that the radiation overnight will escape. And so we're seeing negative temperatures in the morning from about Wednesday onwards. So this cold pool of air with these conditions that will keep it cold overnight means that we're going to see frost. So just briefly to show you, this is the Tuesday morning temperatures. In the central regions, we're seeing the 0 to 5 degrees Celsius. But if we go into Wednesday, we can see we're starting to hit the negatives. And then into Thursday, now that we've had multiple days in the cold pool of air and we've had that long wave radiation overnight, we see that a big portion of the state all through this Oatlands regions, negative temperatures overnight. So that's a big warning coming for you this week. Let's have a look into some specific areas just to make that story a little bit clearer. So the first region that I wanted to show you was Queenstown because it's bearing the brunt of that rainfall. And we can see Tuesday 18 mils, but it could fall anywhere between 9 and 25 mils. Where we are confident though is that it will arrive on Tuesday. And if I open this up, we're seeing that it's really through most of the morning Tuesday, but I want to look at the spread and the models on that very quickly. Yep, no, they're all showing it's the early morning Tuesday. So that's when the rainfall is arriving. I'm going to go to Sheffield now just to show you on that Tuesday, 0.8 mils with a spread between 0 and 2.4. So by the time it moves even to Sheffield, which we know is not very far, there's not a lot of rain left in that system. What it does though is it brings fog risk on the Tuesday, the Wednesday, and then for the rest of the week. So it's quite a foggy week. If we go into the Oatlands where we saw that really cold pool of air, we can see that from the Wednesday onwards, we're getting frost risk. So Wednesday frost, Thursday big frost risk, Friday as well, even to Saturday. So there's frost risk for that Oatlands regions, but up in the north, it seems to not get to the frost risk level. We can also see that spraying conditions are fairly poor for the week there as well. Okay, so that's our story for Tassie. We'll go back and just have a little outwards glance, and you can see that on Thursday, you're under the center of that high pressure system. It's cooling off. It'll be clear, calm days, but really cold overnight. All right. Look out for yourselves. Have a great week. And if you want to see the climate projections for July, we chat about that in the National Weather Update video. So go and check that out. Thanks.